Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. As the vote looms for the big, beautiful budget bill, Elon Musk is like going off the rails. And he is promising to remove every single Republican he can who votes for this bill. Elon Musk on X, it is obvious with the insane spending of this bill, which increases the debt ceiling by a record $5 trillion, that we live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Wow. Time for a new political party that actually cares about the people. But he goes on and states that every member of Congress who campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame, and they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth. Now, let's not forget that within the big, beautiful budget bill are massive cuts to renewable energy, solar, and solar batteries, which is a huge business for Elon Musk. So we must ask, does he really care about the spending, or is he just worried about his business? That's not a question I can answer. But I do have an opinion on it, and it is just that. It is just an opinion. From the beginning, when Elon Musk first started aligning with Donald Trump during his campaign, and once Donald Trump won and took office, every single thing that Elon Musk has talked about has been cutting spending. And much to the detriment of his own popularity and success with Doge, because they were just taking an axe to everything. They were just cutting everything. No surgical precision whatsoever. No thought process of whether something is important or not. They were just cutting like crazy. So his message and messaging around cutting spending has been very, very consistent since well before Donald Trump won the election. In addition to that, he has more money than anybody in the world. And the truth is, whatever losses his solar battery businesses might incur likely won't affect him in any way. And even if it did, I think he has so much money that he does not care. I really, truly believe that. So there's a lot of people that are thinking, he's just upset about losing some subsidies. I'm not so sure. I think he sees the United States spending problem and budget problems in a similar lens than I do, and that is that it's not sustainable. And if we continue on the path we're on, our economy, our country is going to collapse. And that is much more detrimental and damaging to his businesses than some subsidy he would get on his solar battery businesses. And again, I could be wrong about that, but he has been very consistent in his messaging and his opinions about cutting spending for many years. So this is not a new stance, right? This is a stance that he has held for a very long time. In addition to that, it's also a symptom, and it shines more light on the fact of how broken our election system is in this country when someone such as Elon Musk or Donald Trump or people with means can wage these wars against politicians that don't deliver them the things that they want. I couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. But Elon Musk can, and that means that we don't have equal representation. They say one man, one vote. Yeah, unless you got a lot of money. And then you get to help decide who's voting for who. You know what I mean? And that brings me to a case that the Supreme Court is going to hear where Republicans, this goes back to Citizens United. If you remember Citizens United, probably one of the worst, I don't want to even say probably, the single worst ruling ever handed down by the Supreme Court, which identifies corporations as people and allows them to donate an unlimited amount of money and funnel that money into politics. But there are some rules and regulations where the amount of money that they can give to certain individuals in certain states is capped by the number of representatives in the states, the population of the states, and so there are some caps in place for particular races. The Republican Party is dead set on removing all the caps. So someone could just donate an infinite amount of money to whoever they wanted. And with particularly the Senate being set up the way it is, where every state gets 2 senators, no matter what, if there was one person living in that state, they would still get 2 senators. I think this is where it matters the most, because they will be able to donate an unlimited amount of money into these races and also into races in the House of Representatives in low population areas that don't have a ton of representation because they don't have the population. And they're doing this because they have identified areas that they think they can flip if they can push that money. In addition to that, Marjorie Taylor Greene is about to introduce a bill trying to get the United States to perform another census before the midterm elections. We are not due for a census, but she wants us to do another census. Once they deport as many people as they possibly can, they want to do another census, and they believe the results of that census will cause a lot of redistricting in states like Texas and Georgia. Now, a lot of people are upset, understandably so, that undocumented immigrants count in the census, and they think that actually helps Democrats. But in recent elections, it would have actually helped candidates running in red states. It would have helped Republicans more than Democrats. People always focus on California. They don't think that much about Texas and Florida, Ohio. These places have very large undocumented immigrant populations as well. And in the last few elections, if you had not counted any of the undocumented immigrants living in this country, it actually would have been an advantage towards Republicans and not Democrats. Anyway, they're trying to do a new census because they think it's going to give them an additional advantage. But back to the Citizens United deal, instead of working on getting more money out of politics and removing a lot of that dark and dirty money from politics, the Republicans are literally working towards injecting more dark money into politics by revising the current Citizens United. Yes. It's just insanity. It is insanity. And to tell you how insane I think all of this is under the Trump administration, I have literally been wondering, where am I going to move when this whole thing collapses? As in, what country am I going to move to? Am I going to have the ability? Am I going to have the financial ability to up and leave this country before it gets so bad that I have nothing left? Because at the rate we're going, our dollars are not going to be worth much. You can work your whole life and think you have a beautiful nest egg and you think, I'm pretty secure. And the direction these politicians are going in this country with their monetary policy could sink your entire retirement. Like, if your dollar's worthless, it doesn't matter how many you have. I never thought that I would have to ponder and consider an escape plan from the United States of America. And I'm doing just that.